What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Sly Jordy, and welcome back to F1 23 My Team career mode for the Chinese Grand Prix. We are now well into the season, 3 races in, and it's been a pretty good start to the season for us. The best we could possibly have asked for. 3 top 2s for the team, with George Russell picking up the victory last time out in the Australian Grand Prix. And the rest of the team's just struggling to keep up behind us. And as you can tell by the constructors, we are already beginning to run away with it. So the other teams are really going to have to pick things up and get a move on before we pretty much capture the constructors like halfway through the season. I don't know, but there are still 20 races to go, so there's still plenty of time to ruin it. So yeah, let's make sure we remain consistent. And honestly, other than that, there really isn't too much to talk about. We can of course do a funded team event, we'll do GeForce training for George Russell, and we'll do secondary sponsor venue opening, and we've got the final durability upgrade. So pretty much all the upgrades bar the engine supplier durability. Can you shut up?
Be on the car ready for the next race weekend.
I didn't ask. Yeah, other than the final durability upgrade that comes from the engine supplier, we're maxed out now. It's all done. It is literally, you couldn't get this car any quicker if you tried. So, yeah, we're still pretty far ahead in the R&D chart as we maxed out our car very early on. Still waiting for the other teams to bring in their massive upgrades. Hopefully it'll be this Grand Prix, because I don't want it to be too easy throughout the season, because it wouldn't be fun for me, and it doesn't provide better content at all. So I want good content on this channel, so obviously I want some competition, and that's why I'm really looking forward to getting F1 24 started, because, you know, we'll be starting from the beginning, and yeah, I'm very excited for that. So we'll be like starting from the bottom of the grid and stuff, because I'm not going to, even though we're focusing more on driver career mode, I'm not going to do like Red Bull or whatever, you know. But yeah, again, like I said last episode, before we start to focus on that, we need to focus on the season at hand, the final season for F1 23. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into the race weekend at the Shanghai International Circuit. Alright, so it looks to be a pretty clean weekend throughout. I really hope we get an update in future that lets us decide what kind of weather we get into the races. Like, yeah, it comes off as a bit rigged or whatever, but like for the content, but it's still more entertaining and more fun to do that than having just fully dry weekends all the time. Like, wet weather races are really few and far between in this series. It's really sad, to be honest. But yeah, whatever. Here we are. Yeah, it's just only a 14% chance. Let's have a look at the R&D. McLaren have brought in a minor upgrade to this weekend, but other than that, everybody else is still stagnating. Unfortunately, when are these guys going to start bringing in their upgrades, man? I'm sick of it. I don't want it to be too easy. Who knows, though, because Australia didn't go the greatest in terms of qualifying. We had to make it up at the start. And, you know, even then, Sainz was still keeping up. And I'm pretty sure if Sainz went on the mediums instead of the hards, he would have had a much better opportunity at winning the race than, you know, what he did, and which was going on the hards. Whatever. So Baku is definitely one we might struggle on. Imola maybe as well. Monaco I'm quite confident for. We're historically pretty good at Monaco in this game, so I'm not worried about that. Spain, Canada, Austria, Britain, Spa, like most of these races I'm pretty good at. Okay, Singapore, Zandvoort, Qatar, yeah, those 3 races are races that we might struggle a bit on. But other than that, like, I'm pretty strong. So we'll have to see. I've actually turned the difficulty up. We've had it at 95 throughout the whole series, which is proven pretty fine. But at this point, since our car is like maxed out, I've actually decided to move it up to 97 for this race and for the next few races. And depending on how the next few races go, by the time we get up to Silverstone, I might bump it up even more to 100. So we'll see. Because I've been testing the waters with 100. And even though we might even put it at 100 beforehand, because I remember originally we did the series at 85. I moved it up to 90, and that lasted about all but 2 races before I bumped it even further up to 95. So 97 might not cut it, and we might end up going straight to 100. We'll see. But without further ado, let's get into the Chinese Grand Prix for qualifying. So here we are for our first lap of Shanghai qualifying in our final season of F1 23, and I feel quite confident around this track, of course, even though these cars feel drastically different from the cars in the rest of the game. This is still a track that I am quite strong at and have been quite strong at throughout the course of this series. So I'm looking forward to getting stuff done here, getting a good lap in. And we've already set a purple sector in Sector 1. Of course, a few drivers are still yet to set their laps. So we've got an Alpine in front of us. I think that's a Red Bull behind us. I think that's Max Verstappen, it could be. Russell, our teammate's already out as well, about to set a lap. So, yeah, we're in the middle of a bit of a pack here, but there's a nice little space between us. So, I don't know about Ocon though. I think Ocon might have just come out, judging from the blinking lights. So maybe perhaps we might be able to get a nice slipstream off of him, and we might need it after taking a bit too much curb onto, honestly, one of my favourite corners of the calendar. We get caught on that curb, so a really scruffy lap from us, but I think we'll make up for it with this slipstream from Ocon here. So overtaking Ocon, getting to the hairpin, and we're going to make a beautiful turn there, perfecting that part. So hopefully earlier didn't impact us too much. George Russell sets the fastest lap. Let's see if we can go, we can one-up him, and we can't. We're just a little behind him, but Max Verstappen a 10th quicker, and that is just about it. Those are the laps that we set, because as I go and set my final lap, the track, I mean, you could tell from the weather and the tint of the sky, like the track temperatures have really cooled, and there's not nearly as much grip as they were for the original laps. So we just left it too late, and same with George, to be honest. So very unfortunate right there for our team, even for people like Verstappen. So for those who went out right on the edge of the, you know, the grip still being there, they've really capitalized ahead of us.
It's time again then for Formula One in Shanghai. Northwest of the thriving city of over 24 million people is a circuit that first featured in the championship calendar back in 2004. It played host to Formula One's 1000th Grand Prix back in 2019. We're here in the Yangtze River Delta today, home of the 16 corners that make up the Shanghai International Circuit. 54% of this 3.3-mile lap is taken at full throttle, and we'll be getting up to speeds of around 200 miles per hour with DRS assistance down the back straight, before the cars break into the tight hairpin at turn 14. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Oscar Piastri lines up on pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Tsunoda, Sainz, Verstappen, Norris, Perez, Russell, the owner driver, Stroll, Ocon, Drugovich, Théo Pourchaire, Gasly, Bottas, Zhou, Albon, Deruvala, Liam Lawson, Magnussen, De Vries, and Logan Sargent. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
So yeah, a little bit of a different lineup here. Oscar Piastri in the McLaren will be starting on pole. Quite a drastic change in terms of a lot of drivers here. Not just us, but including Red Bull. They're bogged down a bit as well. A big weather change. Something I haven't really noticed in the game before. With the temperature just really cooling down and it really showing on the lack of grip out on track. So I didn't really trust the soft tyres after the qualifying, after practice, and especially after that last part in the cool temperatures of the end of qualifying. So we're going mediums to hards.
Here we go then, the formation lap is underway and the track temperature looks warm, and that may or may not play into some of the team's hands in today's race. As the cars come back towards the grid to line up for the start of the race, each driver will be wanting to get the best start they possibly can, and they'll be hoping to finish today's race on the podium, failing that, within the points.
So we do have a lot of drivers to overtake here, starting pretty much in the middle of the grid, including our own teammate and also all of our rivals so far. You know, the regulars like Verstappen, Sainz, etc., all ahead of us. But I'm not too worried. We've had a really, really good start to the season. And so we've just got to stay as consistent as we have been, especially in terms of the races. We've been really good in terms of race pace. So let's get started. Right behind Sergio Perez. 5 red lights are out. And away we go. And a pretty mid-start for a few people. It's a really good start from us. We are going to get sandwiched in with Sainz, Norris and Perez as Russell looks to make an overtake round our outside. Oh, Perez had to brake a little bit there, and we were able to go round the outside of him right there. Russell has managed to go down the inside of Sergio Perez, so it's a nightmare start for Checo as we now look ahead to see Lando Norris in the Mercedes looking to fight Carlos Sainz. We're going to almost make it a 3 wide in that corner. And Carlos Sainz squeezes Lando out. And we are going to make a move down the inside of the Mercedes here. He is still there, of course, though, side by side. But I think we do have the majority of the space. And we are just about going to cut him off going into this straight right here. So that's lost us about half a second, but we can make that up quite quick. It's a pretty good start from us. P9 to P6 for us thus far. And out ahead, we can see the McLaren of Yuki Tsunoda, who's made a good start for the team as well. So it's a dream start for McLaren, who are both in the top 3. I think that might be, that's Leclerc in the Ferrari in P2 fighting Piastri. Of course, we know Piastri really, really unlucky to not win the championship in Season 3 ahead of us. It literally came down to the final race. It's the closest title fight we've had in the entire season, in the entire game. Hopefully we see closer title fights in the next game, of course, because this season so far we're kind of running away with it. And anything could happen though. I think Baku's next, so we might have to change that here, but we're getting pretty aggressive with our old rival Carlos Sainz. No love lost there. A little bit of contact is made through there, but it's only banging tyres, and we've made it through. And now Lando Norris once again fighting with Sainz, but we're going to leave that behind us as we look to chase after Yuki Tsunoda. As onto lap 3, we look to make a similar move as we did to Carlos Sainz, but he's smarter, he has it scouted, and it's not until lap 5 where we actually do get a chance to overtake McLaren here. Yuki has done some amazing defending here, and McLaren will be very, very happy with him as we do finally make the overtake down the inside, but we're already a second and a half behind the top 3. So whatever happens with Piastri, he's still got a decent gap to maintain ahead of us, and of course there's Leclerc and Verstappen as well. Those are the guys that we're really going to want to keep up with as well. A lack of grip through that corner causing me to check on the tyre condition, but it's just a bit fine. And yeah, we got a safety car. I think there was a collision towards the back of the grid, so nothing that we personally need to worry about, but you can have a look there. A few cars have really stopped on the mini-map, so yeah, that was definitely going to be a safety car. So we're going to pit on this lap for the hard tyres, because I think by the time we come out of the safety car conditions, lap 9 apparently was, yeah, lap 9 was going to be our original time. So by the time we come out of that, you know, we're only pitting like a lap earlier, technically, because I think the safety car should be ending at around lap 8. So yeah, we see Verstappen and Leclerc pitting there. Leclerc actually stayed ahead of Verstappen quite consistently. Good for him. And not many of us are pitting so far. Piastri definitely going to regret not pitting as we make our tyre change, of course, right behind Leclerc, and who is right behind Verstappen. But as we come out, Liam Lawson, wow, coming in clutch there, blocking off Leclerc. So that will be an extra car to pass, of course, and Verstappen has an advantage now, because the cars ahead of him still have not pit just yet. So yeah, he's going to have that advantage straight away. He'll be able to get DRS off of them as well, I'm pretty sure. Or maybe not, who knows. I think the guys in front of us are still yet to pit, so we're all going to be, yeah, we're all going to be together, so it doesn't matter anyway. But here we go, top 3, look at this, here we go. The race has resumed, and we are now chasing after Charles Leclerc. We're going to dive down the inside, quite similar to how we did against Yuki Tsunoda. We've got a tyre disadvantage now, hards versus mediums, of course. So we got to make the most out of this and try to keep up with Verstappen as best we can. But at least we have made easy and short work of the Ferrari here as we move to chase after Max Verstappen, who of course, once again, going to have the advantage in the corners. We'll have the advantage on the straights as well, coming out of those corners. So yeah, but we do have a lot of DRS to work with, so as long as we can keep in DRS range, it shouldn't be too much of a problem as we now skip up to lap 11. Going on to the back straight here, we've got ERS. We burnt most of it trying to keep up with him and chase after him. We've got DRS here, and dummying with Verstappen here to make him cover the inside. It's a beautiful textbook maneuver from us, and we look to switch back Verstappen here. It's now side by side as we move into the final corner. Very close, bit of contact there with his side pod. We've had to go off track a little bit, and this has caused Leclerc to get right up behind us both. I'm surprised he hasn't made it 3 wide here. He's kind of got himself trapped there as we go down the inside of Max Verstappen, and we squeeze him out quite a lot there, to the point that Leclerc is almost making the pass on him. So yeah, hopefully we've attracted them to fight, and we can start moving out ahead of those two. But as we move on to lap 12, that has not been the case, as Verstappen is clearly quicker than Leclerc. Side by side here into the hairpin. Verstappen's looking to do the switchback similar to how we did it earlier, but we have placed our car perfectly and we are still P1. And if we keep doing moves like that to Verstappen, the quicker those tyres are going to wear out and the quicker the hards will be able to become the best tyre. But here he is, moving on the outside of us, a little bit in front of us, but we do have the advantage of being on the inside, and we've placed our car perfectly once again, and we're still ahead of him. But it's this corner, the main straight, of course, that's going to prove our biggest issue. The cars can get really close to each other in the final corner, and Verstappen has now overtook us going into the first corner. There was really not much we could do about that. We've ran out of VRS. We're basically pushing him through that corner, and a very aggressive overtake there. He left the space, the tiniest little gap, and we managed to make it literally on the edge of track limits there. That was a beautiful maneuver from us, and we are now once again P1. So as I'm looking to check on the teammate status of George Russell, Verstappen catches me off guard. Lap 15 here, so we're really going back and forth with Max here in this race. Teo Pourchaire in the Aston Martin out of the race. Leclerc makes a bit of contact with us somehow. I think he's getting a bit impatient and maybe a bit frustrated. But I think George Russell might have just been outside of the points by the time I checked. But since he pit a bit later, he will have the advantage. And we do make a desperate lunge down the inside of Verstappen, and he makes us look absolutely stupid there. And just does the switchback of dreams. Made it look very, very easy, quite frank. So we are still chasing after Verstappen here as we move on to one of the straights here. Of course, yellow flags on the main straight as Teo Pourchaire has parked his car on the side. So I'm not sure if we'll be able to make a pass on Verstappen, even if we are close to him, but he is about half a second ahead, so we are in a bit of trouble as we do use the RS though. We've got DRS again. We're not going to be able to make a pass even if we were close enough to him, but hopefully this gets us close enough to, you know, do what he did to us earlier and get him on the main straight. So here we go, trying to get as much of his slipstream as possible to get as close to him as possible. I've taken the final corner better as we now get DRS. I'm using a bit of VRS as well. Can we get the pass on Max Verstappen here? Still trying to follow him here. He has braked a bit harder going into this corner and he might be losing grip on those mediums. And once again, very cheeky from me that time. A bit of contact there, bit borderline. But we have managed to make the pass. He'll be complaining on the team radio about that, but it's within the laws of the game and the sport. So we are still, well, we are now back in front, and that is the way it stays. As I did remark earlier, Verstappen's mediums seem to be going a bit off, and we go on to the final lap. Half a second ahead of Max Verstappen. So yeah, here we go once again, round one of my favorite corners on the calendar. I'm really glad this is back on the calendar. We'll be seeing that later this year in the F1 2024 season. It's going to be really cool, but yeah, good strategy from us. This season has seemed quite easy thus far. I'm trying to check for teammate status while concentrating on the race as well. Let's see where Russell is by the last lap. He is 9th, so he managed to get back into the points, so good for him. So our tyres are looking pretty worn, so China, yeah, the tyres, definitely a very strange situation this season here in Season 5. The final season, of course, qualifying, the temperatures cooling so much that there wasn't enough grip, even track evolution couldn't help, and there's a lot of tyre wear even on the hards, on the actual track itself, so God knows how the mediums are feeling for those guys, but I'm glad we didn't go on the mediums, because if we did, we might have been in a lot more trouble by now. But we have a lot of ERS saved, and so I'm just burning it down the straight. Even though Verstappen is catching up to us, I'm going to try and move out of his way, but he's still a bit of contact right there as he went around the outside. He's going to try and switch back us here, but he loses the grip, and there is the difference in the tyres in the latter stages of the race as we come round the final corner to once again take the win in the Chinese Grand Prix. When will this winning streak for our team come to an end? It's not now, that's for sure, but it might be in Baku. That's definitely always been a bogey track for us. Driver of the day as well, a perfect race for us.
It's victory in Shanghai, and what a victory it is after an incredible Grand Prix. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
Well, when you overtake that many people, I'd certainly hope you'd win the race. Their car was really effective in the slipstream here today, and the team will be pleased that they didn't cook the engine, given how long they were spending in the hot air behind other cars. They had a lot of confidence to push their tyres hard as well, especially going into the corners, which allowed for some late braking and some exciting passes.
Well, what a thrilling end to an incredible Grand Prix weekend. Our top 3 finishers should be incredibly happy with what they were able to achieve out there today.
Another race, another win for us. It is the perfect start to the season. 4 races in to the season now. and we have basically won every race. I mean, Russell won the last race, but our team is firmly taking a hold of this Constructors' Championship. But George Russell has just had a bad race by his standards, so soon enough we are surely going to have a bad race by our standards, and I genuinely think that's going to be in Baku. But who knows, maybe in this final season, just like in Jeddah, we might finally get a really good weekend. But there we go, 32 points clear at the top. So it's not done and dusted, mind you. We're not really far ahead, but the Constructors might just be wrapped up from us. But I'd expect nothing less. We've got a really, really strong driver pairing with George Russell here, and it shows in the standings. So, yeah, Russell only got P9 because of that whole safety car thing. Again, I wish you could tell your teammates to pit. They really do need to update MyTeam for that. Like, just, it would breathe so much more life into the game if we were just able to, you know, control our teammates' strategy and tell them when to pit. That would just be, it would be such a great quality of life change, and I just don't understand why they haven't done it yet. YouTubers have been asking for it for years. Normal players have been asking for it for years. So hopefully we get it soon. I don't think it will happen in F1 24, but hopefully in 25. But for now, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, hit that like button as hard as possibly can, comment, share, and subscribe. I'll see you all next time. Peace!